Alrighty guys, so we are going to be looking at another one of this week's alteration over here. So we are going to be looking at the big scale Gundam Excl battle over here. So I think about a week or two ago we actually did get the standard Gundam Excl battle, the P-type as alteration. So they both of them will work hand in hand together extremely well because if you subscribe a same name to each other. In terms of big scale, you're getting up to 50.5%. So another one thing you can be looking at is let's say next week we're having the Armor Arena. So two things you're going to be doing. If you take a look at the P-type extended chest, you're looking at 7,600 armor over here, and then in terms of the head, you're looking at roughly about 5,700. So what you can do if right, if anyone is trying to chase for that top 100, for example, for your arena whatsoever, you can definitely sub slot in right here. Look at another 7,200. So you are going to be getting an extremely enormous boosting right there. So same over here, you are going to be getting a carry over of 50.5% of that 40 at max out level 10. So it's all in all pretty good. So that is something I just want to quickly mention right there if anyone is wondering how to get more armors for your armor arena next week. So alright, so let's actually get started with the how good is this guy is over here. In terms of EXQ base over here, they haven't really changed anything yet. I believe they added 2 new EXQ, that is from the head and then from the torso. Other than that, I think they're just pretty self-explanatory. So stats are gonna be as follows right there. I don't bother with like ranking the standard of like even because like if we were to look at the alterations stats, I think we will have to be comparing that with some, you know, Soulcast and Gundam Battle Festival, which I don't think is too much of a fair game for this one over here, because I think for big scale they're just more for like a supplementary. Let's say you pull one of the Super Soulcast part and you need a good sub slot option. I think what I normally recommend people would just try to see if you can find something in the big scale department first, because not only will they carry out a big amount of good stats, they also do have one good portrait that you can potentially use if your main part does not have one. So I think, you know, big scale over here is just definitely for that sub slot purposes, just to try to backfill whatever you guys are missing in terms of like let's say you're not able to put the double parts to sub slot for your whatever Sokai tier part you're looking at. I think big scale over here is definitely going to be a good replacement. So let's actually get started with the head over here. The head, I thought originally they were going to put a command attack with this guy over here, just because I thought the Jamal pilot would kind of make them evaluate how they would kind of build this unit, but nonetheless they went with a Federation, and then for Ace exclusive, which is completely fine. I think that's pretty justifiable right here. So this one is going to work pretty well with, let me see, I think this one specifically is going to work extremely well with this one over here. I believe the original RX-72 over here, because I believe they both share, let's see, I think they share, oh, mid-range and Ace exclusive. Oh, you can kind of do that. Anyways, this one is going to be Ace exclusive and for Federation over here, so not too bad. In terms of the shot attack stat, it's actually pretty decent, breaking that 10k barrier. So in terms of how you want to use this head over here, I think it's just mainly going to be on that sub slot purposes, if whatnot, I want to say, because this one first and foremost does not come with a portrait. So whatever you sub slot or you main slot, you part better have a good portrait to begin with, because you don't everyone want to run into a situation where you're left with only 2 EXQ and then no portrait. So I think that's a good, that's something to kind of keep in mind as well right there. In terms of the EXQ we have for this time around, this is a completely new EXQ in terms of like a buffing category we were looking at. So this one's going to be charge up shot alpha over here. So I'm pretty sure later down the road we're going to start seeing a lot of these variation over here. So you may be getting a charge up melee alpha sometime soon, I guess. And then we can get a gamma and beta as another one of those supplementary over here, I just assuming. So this one's gonna set your shot skill cooldown instantly down by 68%. So this is a extremely fast reduction over here. I wonder how this actually plays into like today's meta. I can't really think of like a good way of like utilizing this right now, so I can't really give you guys like a good let's say like a good suggestion right now. I think I actually do have the head in the purpose of the the armor arena. So I'm gonna try to see how I can utilize this Excl over here, and then I'll definitely like fill you guys in like, all right, how to actually kind of use it, because like I think you can kind of use this in a extremely strategic way. So definitely not bad right there. So I'll definitely dive into it. So as of right now, I would definitely suggest everyone to not really go ham into it unless you guys are like trying to prepare for that armor arena, because like you be somewhere right now, I think it's kind of like a waste of horrors in a way. I'd rather say, oh, just wait a month later, then you can get it from the 4-star pick tickets shop. I think that's definitely a lot more better choice than say, oh, let me spend 1,500 or no, spend 1,500 horror chips and then summoning for one of these standard part. That is highly not recommended. But right now, we're just trying to see how's this guy all in all in total, and just kind of see what kind of stuff we can be looking at, right? In terms of the chest over here, or the torso, I think the biggest noticeable part is going to be that extremely high armor over here. So that's why I say it's going to pair up extremely well with the counterpart, the P-type Excel, no problem right there. So this one is going to be, I would say, a heavily influenced to be a shooter build over here with Ace exclusive and for Federation over here. So this one you can definitely get some good slot bonuses if your main part has already Ace exclusive. At least you're going to be guaranteed a 30.5% sub-slot transfer over rating. So that is going to be extremely good already. Despite the fact that the shot attack may not be like the most impressive overall, but nonetheless, they are going to give you pretty good style overall. So this one is going to be a breast Vulcan over here. In terms of piercing, you do have an A pierce. Power wise, it's going to be a C, so it's not going to be anything too impressive from what we have seen in today's meta already. So this one is like, it's not good overall in terms of E-scoop, but the overall stat is definitely right there. I think it's up there for sure. But this is definitely not something you really want to like. Oh, I gotta alterate immediately. It's just more like a situational thing when you need it to, let's say, complete a build. It's definitely not something you could say, oh, let me get the part immediately and alterate it. There's no need for that. I think this, like I said again, just more for like a backfill, more for like a in an emergency need, I would say. So that is that. Moving on to the armor over here. So this one is gonna get a little bit of a buffer in terms of Vortex for urban area over here. I don't recall us having that already. Maybe the big scale dev side might have that already, but I'm not too sure. I think it might have that. So so right now they're reintroducing that again, giving another buffer for urban areas. So I guess it is what it is. Yeah. But in terms of overall stat, the shot attack is actually pretty impressive by just looking at how like the overall stats with the transfer gear and all that. So not bad overall. Armor wise, it's kind of justifiable as well, like almost at that 5,000 mark right there. Definitely the melee attack is a little bit slightly less than what it should be, but that's pretty much fine. This one we have a first portrait over here. This, ooh, wow, what is yeah, yeah, man, this is probably the best portrait I have seen coming off of a standard unit by any means. But I think the only downside I can just kind of say is, when operator is on auto, shooting power boost by 30%, and then other than that, this is a completely must-have part over here. But I feel like this just limited to only auto is just, I don't know, that's a pretty niche idea of having that. Like, I usually go into battle like on manual mode, so this is definitely for players who just kind of go into auto and then you can just get that power shooting up by 30%. Like, by all means, this is an extremely good portrait for a standard. Like no joke, this is really good. It just, I feel like the niche condition is just kind of like, man, unfortunate, right? But this one, I will say right now, I'll give this to, I'll probably put this part to be like a tentative like rank number 1 out of this batch obviously over here. If it wasn't for the auto, like this one for sure would be ranked number 1 out of this list right here, right? And then your second condition, while you have Gundam type active, shooting power boosted by 35%. So this one is clearly wanting you to, in your build, having a Gundam type, because I don't recall this unit having Gundam type in general. But I think this one is definitely calling out to saying, well, I want you to subslot into the big scale or the standards, the P type one. because the P type actually does have Gundam type, so I think it is extremely calling upon that right there. So armor over here is definitely an excellent top choice right there for sure. Moving on to the leg up here, extremely high armor as well, 6,300, so not bad overall. In terms of the leg, you are going to see some extremely high value in terms of a standard coming in at 4,269. Not bad overall, but let's see what the portrait has in store for us over here. So this is another one of those like an enemy power reduction type of EXQ power reduction type over here. So like I'm gonna mention it many times already, I guess. In terms of this over here, it is more of like a situational thing. It depends on what you guys like preference wise. I don't like having like reduction power wise, so this is not gonna be my choice. But if any of you guys are into that, this may be a good choice for you right there. But in terms of the second portrait, it's gonna be a little bit of a niche category to be looking at, because I would say there's just not a lot of good option in terms of like shoe EX skill, so that is that. But they did make a good choice of just having this one as a EX skill power boosted, so you can use this on like a melee build, for example, or if you're using like a melee EX skill on this in this kit, this will still get the benefit of that. But I just feel like the shape department does not carry out like the best EX skill to be looking at, so I feel like it's not the best. But you know, I would say this one probably will not be like the best portrait to be looking at right out the bat, for example. So that is that. Work check is gonna be continued as Ace exclusive, and then for urban area over here. So another, you can say another good option for that. So not bad. In terms of the backpack, I think we have the same EX skill again. So this is exactly the same as the regular one. So this is gonna be the Twist Buster. A Twist Buster in any form and shape is the extremely powerful EX skill. So this is not gonna be too bad overall. In terms of stat wise, this is more of like a pretty evenly built one. In terms of melee, you're looking at almost a 4,000, which is pretty satisfiable. In terms of shot department, it's 4,200 flat, so not bad on all. Word tag wise, gonna be an Ace exclusive, and then for urban area, I don't really have too much of a say for this one. I think it's just more of like a personal preference, I guess, for this one. Because this one is gonna tie it down to an EX skill as well. So if your main part does not have a portrait to begin with, I would say I would not reserve the spot for this one at all, because I feel like I'll definitely for back part, is because back part, the main issue with back part, there's just a lot of like CEXQ coming into the back part, so there's just not a lot of good backpack option that has portrait. So this one I will just kind of say no, unless your backpack can satisfy the portrait requirement already, then it's good. But other than that, I'll say no. No. Alright, so moving on to the machine gun over here, let's see what we're looking at. Machine guns wise, we are looking at some incredibly high shot attack coming off of the standard part over here. But I would say one thing right here in terms of like a niche category looking at. So keep this in mind, this is coming off of a machine gun type category. So I don't think we have too many good representation of like a good machine gun, if I have to say. Let me just kind of check. So machine gun over here. I just want to see how many. Yeah, I want to say we have that much, you know. So yeah, I feel like it will be a extremely niche option unless you're looking into the P type option. Then you may be talking, but you talking about some other versions. Yeah, we just don't have that much representation in here. Even if you're looking at the limited side, they're just not the most impressive. So I feel like the machine gun is definitely something, I don't know. But let's take a look at the portrait first. Portrait wise, the first one is gonna be extremely bad. That is one thing, because it's just gonna be a flat out damage increase, which is not the best. But if you guys are trying to fight those like let's say creative mission where whoever the creator purposely turned off every power, like any of those melee or shooting power, this one over here is going to be a bypass right here. So if anyone is wondering, second portrait is going to be good, but there is going to be a little bit of a HP restriction. So let's say you fall below 80%, immediately your shooting power is going to get knocked out. So it's just not good overall, I would say. Niche category, and then a portrait in terms of the first portrait is not the best. But if you guys can maintain above 80% at all time, this will be I would say it's pretty good, you know, coming off of the center part, so not bad overall, I guess, but just a really niche category of a weaponry, so probably not. This one with like the beam rifle is definitely gonna be good because we do have a lot of like I would say alteration for just like a regular rifle category. So yeah, all right. So moving to the divider, the X derived shield over here. So let's see what we have. Yeah, it's gonna be another one of those extremely long first time usage. So I don't know how I feel about that because this right here is it's just exactly the same as the P type version of it. So there's not gonna be any of like differences we're looking at. Let me just see power wise. A and then B plus 35 seconds first time. Then we take a look at this one. Let me just take a quick look real quick. Yeah, it's exactly the same. So I don't see. I think this one has lower stats, right? Yeah, this one does have slightly lower stats than what you can look at from this one over here. So this one I would say is gonna be another one of those situations of like, all right. So this one have Excl, right? So this your can you subside into like a main part that has already has a portrait, or can you have this part as a main part and then your port or your subside has portrait? I think it's gonna be either or. If you guys have that options already, this one is definitely gonna be good for whatever stats things you're looking at because you do have, let's say, Ace exclusive and then for Federation right there. So not gonna be a bad option overall in general. So this would just be a quick alternate review for the Gundam X Divider. It's definitely going to be providing a lot of good support for that Ace exclusive type, no problem right here, just because of, I think every part essentially has an Ace exclusive. So I think by any means, any shooter build out there, like any shooter builder out there, this is definitely going to be another option you guys can be looking at. I think the stat overall is pretty impressive, like in terms of like the stat wise. I'll keep this in mind when you guys are subslotting this over here. You guys gotta be getting a non-conditional 20% subslot added on to your provider already. So that is gonna be good, despite the fact that the stat is not like oh anything too impressive, if I was saying so myself. But overall, not bad of a big skill alteration over here. But you know, that being said, that should be pretty much it for this video over here. And then I will catch you guys all on the next one.